So we're back at the Paradox offices with Thomas, and we thought we'd ask him a little bit about how it came to be that Paradox are launching a new internally developed franchise, Sengoku, first game, and the inspirations and why they decided to start on this project.
Yeah. Well, a Japanese game about this period has always been something that lots of us wants to do, and then when we started thinking about Crusader Kings 2, we realized that we have a lot of synergy here, and maybe this is the time when we actually get to do this samurai game that we always talked about. So off we went.
So Sengoku will, in a sense, be a little bit of a teaser taste of some of the systems that will be in Crusader Kings 2.
Yeah, I think that once people see Crusader Kings 2, they will recognize lots of the things from Sengoku, but also there are also lots of things that are very different. So we basically started out from the same baseline, so to speak. We have a game which is more about characters than it is about countries, but Sengoku and the Japanese period and the Japanese medieval age sort of had a different, it was also very different from European medieval times. So you will notice that when you play the game.
So what is it about that period that you feel lends itself very well to it, and because you said you wanted to do it, but the reasons?
Well, I mean, we all grew up with samurais and ninjas and all this, and apart from that, it was a really exciting period. You had ancient Japan, which had an emperor and the structure with its nobilities and these kind of things, and then it all started with a quarrel in the capital where mighty families started to attack each other, and that spread out in the countryside, and all of a sudden the whole system, if you will, sort of disintegrated. And you have a situation with these small feudal lords that, some of them was like the gardener the day before, and now gets his band of samurai and builds his own castle and starts to set off and try to become shogun himself. And the dynamic of that period with like the intrigues and the wars, and it's really exciting.
So does sort of limiting yourself to feudal Japan, does that allow you to go into greater depth in a sense?
Yeah, well, if you compare it to, I mean, I'm sure we did an expansion for EU3 recently where we had some things about feudal Japan, but then we're sort of stuck in a game that is meant to play on a global scale, and we need rules for countries. And then we try to make a model that would enable the player to get a feel for when you play Japan, it becomes a bit different from playing, say, Britain, but you're still playing
the basic rules.
Yeah, you have the same basic rules, and then we're stuck to making things that work in a global setting. But now we're making a game about this very specific period in Japanese history, so we can really focus on getting the clans and their structures and their relationships to each other and all these kind of things.
Has there been a lot of extra research to trying to get it historically correct?
Yeah, I mean, it has been kind of a challenge for us because we grew up in Europe. We went to these history classes in Europe, and most people who work at Paradox are really interested in history, and it's really something that defines us. And we have lots of interest in the Japanese period, but of course, we had to work a little bit extra for the research stuff. But I think we got it right in the end.
And I understand Sengoku is being targeted for release sometime late summer, early fall.
Yeah, that's correct. I don't have the specific date at the moment, but
it's in the PR department's hands.
Yeah, it's in the PR department's hands. I focus on making the game with the deadlines I have.
Oh, and they're closing in?
They're closing in, but I can't really be more specific than that.
So do you feel that I understand it's going to be a little bit cheaper than the normal Paradox internally developed title?
Well, if that's what you heard, then that's really pricing is not really my department, but it is a game with a shorter development cycle and smaller focus than the one we've done before. But we think that this could also be an asset for us because we're not trying to do everything this time. We're trying to create really tight mechanic that really work and that is balanced from the start, really, where you start the game and you play it and then you win. So the focus is, you know, we have a smaller map and these kind of things, so it's a little bit smaller game, but
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
well, thank you very
Looking forward to it.